Well, Apex have just secured themselves the lead by winning on Human TripWire's own map pick. And now with Icebox coming up next, it's going to be a question if whether or not Human TripWires are even comfortable on this one to begin with. I'm Jeannie, joined by MP. And based off of what we've just seen, both of these teams are in it to win it. And it's honestly anyone's game. But as of now, Apex are the ones in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And my question is yesterday gonna repeat itself? Because when we had Focus versus Aegis there, the first map was so close. It was exactly 14-16, all 30 rounds as well. But when we went to Focus's map pick, it was just domination. And it could be the same thing here. Apex just getting comfortable with themselves, getting that confidence in. It's the first season, or first match of the season. So you just want to get that confidence in. You're not in your own map pick. You're not in the probably the best mindset, because it's like a weird ground that you start. Obviously, these people know about Ascent. They know how to play Ascent, but still, they should be kind of worried because it's the enemy's map pick. But now you go to Icebox, you're gonna have so much comfort in your own picks, your own strats that you have created in the past few weeks. And I think Apex could be really dominant in this map.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Apex, they decided to go on Icebox, which means they are comfortable on it, and it is their map pick, so potentially, you know, I'm expecting some crazy plays. But I think a lot of the issues that we've seen initially from Apex on Ascent, again, that mid control was lacking a little, and I think Human Tripwires were able to capitalize off of that quite a lot. It feels like towards the end of the game, Apex didn't manage to get it back under control in terms of waiting to play off of each other's util, play off of each other's peaks, but all in all, the contact and the teamwork that we've seen from Apex, yes, they're out on top, but it also felt like individual performances. I think Enzo, we've already highlighted him, again, MVP from last game specifically, but I think some of the individual performances that he has put through has genuinely made the difference in terms of Apex getting that game onto overtime, Apex closing it out in overtime. So I think less reliance on those individual performances maybe, but Human Tripwires, though, they're kind of in the same boat, because when Stanley was on fire, they were very much in a very big lead, and then we see Devo on fire, again, a lead being secured, and once individual players start falling off a little and everybody, the level playing field is becoming a little bit more clearer, that's when Human Tripwires struggled the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just all about Human Tripwires trying to break through that defensive default of Apex. It worked a lot in the first half. I think it was great from Human Tripwires. Like I said, at the end of that first map, I think that control of the defensive side, able to pull those rotations away from side and create a lot of space with that was crucial for Human Tripwires. And Icebox is one of those maps where you can utilize that mid quite a lot. When you pull those rotations, maybe get the lurks down, get that rotations or get those rotation kills as well. That could be scary for the side of Apex. I think Human Tripwires, they're on top of that. But obviously it's Apex's own map pick. They should be comfortable. They should already have these drills already set in place. Who is going to rotate off of which contact, and if they're going to practice, or if they have practiced Icebox mostly, which I assume so, I think it should be very well drilled down.
Yeah, and also I think when we're looking at Human Tripwires, Icebox historically not their strongest map, but still a map that they came out positive on in terms of the amount of times they've played it. And when we're looking at the agent selection here, not just as a mirror matchup, it's the exact same mirror matchup as last map. No Sage though, so we're not gonna get those Sage wall diffuses from yesterday, which I'm happy about.
Are we on the right map?
Are we on the right? I mean, yes.
Icebox? What?
Question mark?
Question mark? Surely not. Are they playing Omen? Surely this is... I don't know what is happening right here, but this mirror matchup... I mean, all but Omen I see happening here. The Viper should be in place, and I think this might be some kind of error. Or then we're gonna see the craziest matchup ever. I mean, I would be happy either way.
Like, I was getting a little excited, especially because I saw no Sage, and like after yesterday, if we had like, you know, if we could do like a BPM monitor on casters, and then that can just like show up on screen, because some of those Sage walls were a little concerning. But as far as we're aware, that is not going to be correct. So
Maybe.
question mark still in the air in terms of what agents we're going to be looking at. But yeah, yesterday we had with the Viper. On Icebox, we had the Sage, so two of those agents that we are currently missing in this rotation. And it feels like having the same matchup twice in a row. What are the odds? What are the odds?
0. When you go from Ascent to Icebox, 0. There's no way you're going to run Icebox without Viper, especially for 2 teams. You might run the Omen as a double controller comboed with the Viper, maybe in this new meta with Harbor as well. We have seen a little bit of Harbor in Icebox, but not without Viper unless you have Harbor. I think it's going to be real strange. You were talking about the Sages already, walls going through to defuse those spikes, but what we haven't seen quite yet is those cringe TikTok Sage balls. I think I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that.
Cringe and TikTok in the same sentence.
I mean, it's like equal, right? Cringe equals TikTok. TikTok
no,
equal.
but like it's valuable information that they're putting out.
Yeah,
it's creativity. It's like actual brain cells put behind that content. People are going into the practice tool and spending hours of their days making sure that they can figure out the lineups, the walls, what's going to be working the best in your game, and they're giving it to you for free.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're hating on them?
No, I'm just hating for my Elo or ranked Elo because going against those. I actually have a lot of respect in terms of just going for those lineups.
There we go. Reyna, let's go.
Devo going for the Reyna, which is really interesting. The Reyna got a buff like what was it 6 months ago, something like that. So the Leers, the Reyna Flash, it's gonna go all the way wherever you're gonna see. If you're in the line of sight of that flash, you're gonna get flashed nearsighted unless you shoot that. So it has brought the Reyna a little bit in the meta, and especially on Icebox, we have seen it time and time again. I think it's a viable pick. Maybe not the best in terms of just trying to go for the side. I think Jet still is the better pick, but the Reyna's gonna help a lot for those drones, EPs. I think you're gonna see EPs going for the drone and Devo trying to support that with the Leer coming in. That should be the theory for this Reyna. And thankfully we're gonna see the Vipers.
Also, I want to give you a shout out to MP because I remember you made that KO lineup video like 2 hours after KO came out. So that was great. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, it took me like 4 hours to figure out like 4 lineups. So a lot of respect for lineup makers, like
lineup Larrys.
Exactly. But please don't come against me in ranked. Please be on my side.
Ooh, lineup Larry is not needed because we have the drone instead. We gotta be able to cause a little damage. But this is aggression from human tripwires that is mimicking the aggression we've seen from APEKS onto that first map Ascent, especially when they were on the defensive side. When APEKS was playing aggressively, it was going really well. So now it looks like human tripwires are taking a page out of their book, and they're like, we saw you do it, it worked for you, it could work for us.
Yeah, Devo looking for re-aggression in mid, but just fighting that Killjoy turret. Having to fall back. APEKS is gonna use the space.
Ooh, Kaiko starting it off strong. Stanley's already taken out, and that was one of the players that you really need to be careful with. But Devo is also on the back line. He's not accounted for. He's going to be able to get another pick. Connor assisting him with that as well. And Kitchen, in the meantime, is also up for the take. And Magnum has found some space. And that leaves him all by himself. The spike is planted. He has 2 players to be dealing with. He did not expect them to peek him at the same time. But that's what they do indeed. And Human Tripwires secure that pistol round.
That was a bit too messy round. I'm not even quite sure what happened there. Great plant coming in. Amazing kills. Devo getting that wall down. I think Shadow didn't quite realize that the wall is going to get taken down. They're going to have the line of sight. Devo is able to get that overheal down. And when you have Reyna overheal on a pistol, it's a scary sight to see. Devo going for the rifle as well, coming up into the second round. And when you're Reyna, you can absolutely do this. It doesn't matter. You could even go without shields because you have the heal. All you have to do is hit a headshot and you're back to 150.
And that's the scary part. Because now, I mean, we've seen maybe like a little bit of a force. I don't really want to call it a force because it's only Magnum, but that Vandal on Devo, this man on Reyna, man, he's not a joke. Like, his jet was already really good, and now he's on the Reyna on Icebox. He's feeling it. Add another one to that kill feed. Everyone is trying to push past Devo, just get put right under. He's not having any of it. And APEKS with 3 players left, Sheriff and a Stinger. What can they do here? Devo hasn't even used the Leer.
Yeah, it seems like Devo is playing this Reyna as more of a jet with double dashes.
Yeah.
So after every kill, he is dismissing away and
Ooh,
finding more. That's the Empress as well coming into the next round. Mystic?
2 already. Looking to make it 3, but not on Devo's watch. 2-0 for Human TripWires, and they get a hold on to that Vandal as well as 2 Spectres. And I think holding on to that Vandal is quite important because APEKS are coming in with guns blazing.
Yeah.
Empress is online. 3rd round in.
Wow. Devo.
Okay.
This is one of the scariest things for me because when you get that Reyna online, that confidence, you can dominate. You can snowball so much with it. It's so scary because every time you're gonna go for the peak, you're gonna know that Reyna has been on fire. Especially, that works especially in ranked. But I think at this level, especially in the first days of Polaris, when these teams have not synergized quite yet that well, it's gonna create a lot of chaos.
Yep.
Look at that.
This missing immediately. Doesn't even try to go for the heal. Instead, he gets the heal from Connor. Again, another pick, another dismiss. They lose Stanley on the way, but Devo does not care. He has that Empress. He could have popped it there, but instead he gets the heal from Connor as well. He's back onto safety. Magnum does punish him eventually, but Connor immediately trading. And the way Connor is playing this in combination with Devo, they're stuck at the hip. In a good way.
Fern. Just finishing it out. They will get 3 rifles.
Yep.
And a full buy. APEKS is set back so much. This is exactly what the Reyna is so scary for. You can go for a pick. Go back. Yeah, doesn't even heal himself. Gets a heal from Connor. That goes for seconds.
Worse? What's worse than a Reyna that can heal herself? A Reyna doesn't need to heal herself and can dismiss instead. Because they have a Sage.
Devo's pocket Sage in Connor.
Yeah.
Who's able to get kills as well.
Clutch. Yeah?
Yeah. And when Devo dies, it's Connor who trades him instantly. That's scary.
Yeah, they're leaving Devo alone on A this time, and I think that's just the confidence that Devo has at the moment. Coupled with that Empress being available is gonna give him a very good shot at holding off some of these attacks. But instead, APEKS they use that Sage wall quite early on. Trying to cut off backside, but it's not gonna do much. You still have players in Snowman. Stanley is the one that's counted for, but gets healed up immediately, so all damage is negated. Kaiko looking for the high ground. He's gonna get tagged out instead.
Yeah, good damage into Stanley as well. Connor gets tagged, but KILLJOY on the attacking side is gonna buy some time. They cannot go forward unless Devo... No, Devo is gonna fall back as well. With that Reyna, you could dismiss the KILLJOY ulti if you get a kill just in time. Just gonna go for the retake. Time is ticking.
Yeah, this is the breathing room that APEKS needed. Now, low HP on most of these players. The Leer is gonna make Kaiko go back into the smoke, but still, he gets that pick. Epps and Hypern, but Magnum clapping back immediately. 2 players left on the side of Human TripWires make that one. Stanley up against Enzo, and Magnum time is sticking. There's no way for them to be able to close this round. That all he can do is do some damage to the economy, but instead, Magnum Enzo died to the spike detonation. Thrifty round by APEKS, and that's how they get themselves on the board.
Absolutely. I think there was even a chance for APEKS to win out that round. Shadow had the wall, but I think he misplaced it a little bit, so it doesn't cover the spike. Not a chance to defuse. Or rather, Human TripWires Connor. He displaced the wall. The APEKS, they get the first round. Bladestorm available for Keiko. Mystic has that Viper's Pit as well, which will make securing the post plant so much easier, but Now they just have to get to site.
Yep. Step by step. You know, get onto site. Use a bit, or use a bit to get onto site. Whichever, you know, reiteration of the process you would like.
Yep.
But Devo, again, off angle, pushed out aggressively, looking to capitalize off of the Reyna. Keiko could potentially, Kaiko could be walking into a crosshair, but it feels like APEKS are slowing down a little. Instead of getting onto site and trying to get the plant down, they are giving a lot of respect to Devo.
Absolutely. And you need to. You cannot disrespect this guy. He's been already on fire in the first 4 rounds. Now, APEKS grouping up onto B side, but there's so many rotations made from the side of human troopers. 4 players already waiting for this execute.
Ooh. So that's gonna force them off a little bit. That snake bite also is not gonna make it easier for them to plant. Immediately the sage wall as that util comes up. Kaiko and Magnum as well as Shadow joining in on that kill feed. 3 players down from human tripwires. EPEKS and Devo left to clutch it out. Devo so far instrumental in getting these early picks, winning these rounds, just absolutely popping off like crazy. EPEKS still has that util available. So does Devo. Can go out for a Leer, aggressive push, get the Empress on, dismiss and heal at the same time because Connor, as we said, getting those heals out no longer possibility. But instead it looks like they're deciding to save.
Yeah, they're falling back. Magnum is already on the hunt, closing in on Kitchen. It seems like human troopers, they kinda know that there might be someone looking for them, and Devo is gonna find Magnum. APEKS, they find the second round. I think human trooper, they're struggling in terms of holding that B side because APEKS is doing this very, very heavy deep control into B, walling off of CT, so no support comes through that, and they just drop the Viper wall in a perfect time where they have at least 3 players facing onto site in 3 different locations, being able to do all of those players out. I think it was a lot of struggle in terms of human tripwires not having sightlines in the same players, so they cannot go for the trades. They have to go for individual duels, and at least this time around and the previous round, APEKS will win those.
Yep. APEKS so far, they got it back under control. It felt like Devo was a little bit of a thorn in their side, but the more they're avoiding this, the more respect that they're giving to Devo, the easier it is for them to get onto that B site, because that's what human tripwires is currently struggling to control. That was gonna miss a couple of these shots, gonna throw out the Leer. It's gonna push further back even more. 20 HP left. Connor not able to give him that heal that he needs. But Firen saves the day. 1 player taken out, equalizing that scoreboard. And that is a Viper spit that potentially could mean end all be all. Mystic Magnum. And ends up being brought back to life.
Oof.
Last player standing is Firen. Yes, he's found a couple of picks. That could potentially not be enough because now there's 5 members that he needs to deal with.
Once again, some struggles. But yeah, Fern gets the lockdown online, but that situation is not gonna help. Magnum wrapping around in kitchen as well, but he's there too late. Mystic is faster. APEKS struggling in the first 3 rounds, actually losing out that first gun round as well. But then bringing it back, evening out the odds. Human tripwires, they don't have money in the bank. Devo going for that rifle half shield. You can do that because you're Reyna. You still have money for a rifle half shield. You don't really need that utility too much, especially on the defensive side. So you can basically just go for a buy until you have like 3.3k.
Yep. For now, APEKS, they're coming back. And human tripwires, they're the ones struggling economically. Devo still has enough to get that Vandal out, but that Empress has been sitting online since round number 3. We're now into round number 7, and it feels like he needs to start making a little bit more of these aggressive plays because you need to start risking it. Otherwise, you're going to sit down, you're going to get complacent, you're never going to use that Empress, and there's going to be sitting a fully charged ult at what cost?
Yeah, and it's a 6-point ult. You want to use it because you're going to get it multiple times in this half. Kaiko Mystic clearing out the players of human tripwires. Even Mystic being a menace on the B side. Look at the second entry that they got. It's on B side. Sure, Devo now following Mystic. Is he aware of this push though?
Devo's wrapping around. It could still be a little too late. He does get spotted. But if he manages to get off any picks here.
Oof.
But immediately, Mystic says, nope. I am the guardian of A site. And this is the same from the side of APEKS where they're struggling. The second that APEKS pushes aggressively onto a site and immediately commits to it, human tripwires are not getting an opportunity to react. They're a little late on the rotations. The Connor from human tripwires is usually coupled with the Reyna. That was worked out successfully when they were pushing out aggressively. They're now a little bit more complacent. We're not seeing that duo anymore. And then Shadow just walling off the back of side. It makes it so difficult for any help to come through.
Yeah, and it seems like APEKS has been gaining some momentum. So they're winning their individual duels as well. Kaiko, Mystic. Everyone's confident in own duels. Human Tripwires calling out this timeout. It's a really good call. You have to play right now when you have like 4 ultimates. 5th one coming up as well. But you know that enemy team can use that lockdown and you don't really have anything to counter with because the Hunter's Fury is the only thing that you don't have up right now. Obviously, yeah, you have your own lockdown. You can gather the control back. But still you have to set up a set plan in this upcoming round. Because if you don't and you waste all of these ultimates, it could be a dangerous zone.
Yep. And also I think human tripwires, they are so close to the level of APEKS, and that's what's crazy to me because we counted them out. Like last time around, placing 5th, and then we're saying, okay, you're going up against APEKS, one of the teams with a lot of experience. But look at how hard they're making it for APEKS still.
Yeah, it's not easy, definitely. I think the last few rounds have been quite a stroll for APEKS. Like it's been fairly easy, but still, human tripwires. They're definitely a force to reckon with. It's nowhere near easy, and now we see the lockdown not invested quite yet.
Contemplating, just to, you know, give it some time.
You should run here.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but that's just gonna be fake. They're selling it. Fern spotting Mystic, but that's only one player spotted. They don't quite yet know whether this is gonna be commit, and they're actually splitting A side.
Yeah, they're looking to push through mid, but human tripwires, they decided that this is going to be the case. They get spotted by the KILLJOY util, but still, APEKS, it was looking a little scary for them, but they come out on top. Connor, the only one left to clutch this out, has a res available if he wants to make this a 2v3. But realistically, is a 2v3 what they need? Getting a res here on Devo could potentially be instrumental to winning this round.
Yeah, but you really want to go for Fern. Yeah. If you want to rest this, go for Fern because he has the lockdown. Connor is gonna take the duel. Odd that he's not gonna go for the resurrection. Obviously, you don't know the positions of the enemy team. There might be some player lurking in the shadows, being really aggressive, and when you go for the rest in boiler, it's gonna die instantly. But I think I would have to commit to that after cleaning out like the CT area, just major parts of that CT area, and looking like there's no one there. Now human tripwires, they have saved a lot of ultimates. Like you said, Devo, 5 rounds in a row he has had that Emperors.
Yeah. Well, actually, he's had it since round 3, so 6, I think.
Well, yeah, 6th coming up now.
Coming up now. And
good math.
Yeah, quick maths. 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 1 is 3.
Debatable.
Yeah. Quick math. Yo, what do you mean debatable? Hey, this is why you're a caster and not a mathematician.
Exactly. That's why I dropped out of college. Wait, what?
Yo,
don't do it, kids.
Don't do
Enzo?
That.
Definitely did not. That was planned.
Yo,
another
Enzo.
one.
And another one for Mystic.
It's the classic DJ Khaled. My favorite line.
And Stanley, the only ones left. And it feels like APEKS is adding another one to the scoreboard. 6-3 is most likely going to be the end. Oh, not if people decide to peek individually. Magnum, but Enzo, again, dropping around. Enzo is that player on the team that's making sure that every single potential issue is completely covered. You want to go peek individually? That's fine. I'm gonna be the responsible one, and I'm gonna wrap around just in case.
Absolutely. Enzo is that guy.
Yeah, we all need a friend like Enzo.
Absolutely. In this matchup, Enzo has been a little bit quiet, but he was carrying the whole team in previous maps, so I think it's fair. Especially when you're in Sova, when you play as a Sova, you're more likely gonna be using that dart and drone just to support your other players. And Enzo's just a crazy good IGL.
Yep. And it's showing in terms of the decision making that we have seen from APEKS. On the end of last map, towards the last couple of rounds here on Icebox. They are quickly to adapt, they're quickly to change up their pacing. But also, the complacency from Human TripWires is a little scary because they went from playing out aggressively, securing themselves 3 rounds, to feeling like that's okay, sitting back and waiting for the aggression from APEKS to be turning on them. I want to see them switch on online again. I want to see that Empress online. Yeah, you have the operator. You know, potentially get an off angle. You're sitting on the back of A site. It's very predictable. They're expecting it. Instead, they're going up tube.
And it's really weird that EPS is actually playing so far. Especially when Devo, it seems like he had the angle on the belt with the operator. Magnum now starting the first call. Oh my... How does he even survive that?
Yeah, we said it. That's something that we don't want to see. Stanley also doesn't want to see Kaiko, so make sure that he gets taken off the map. Enzo, though, initially with the trade, make that another. This man just cannot have a bad game, I guess. Not happening. Not today, at least.
Absolutely not. And Fern, yeah, he has the lockdown still, but Hunter's Fury on the side of APEKS is gonna be able to counter that instantly. Viper's Pit invested as well. Gonna make it so much harder for Human TripWires to retake this. You know that Fern would love to use that lockdown, but there's no point. It's gonna get taken away instantly.
Yep, Hunter's Fury online. Again, you have EPS still available. You can use some of that Sova util to try and at least spot out the Viper. Mystic, though, is aware of this, is looking to play outside of the pit, but Firen is the one to catch him off immediately. Magnum does find that trade, but that's the Hunter's Fury once the Spike has been tapped. But they're right back onto it. They're not accounting for Magnum, but Devil wants to stick it. He's going for the swing, but Magnum to save the day. 3K back to back, making sure that every single member who tries to contest that win drops.
And barely surviving right there.
Ooh.
By the skin of that hit. Mystic doesn't quite connect. I think he had a good sense of where the enemy might be, but doesn't quite connect there, and Viper's Pit gets taken out instantly. Human TripWires, they see a little chance in that round, but in the end, it's Magnum on that flank. He's been able to already wrap around, be a menace, even with a shorty. Human TripWires going for aggressive push this time around. This is exactly what we want to see.
Yep. This is the aggression, but they're doing this on an eco round, and it feels like they haven't been aggressive for such a long period of time that APEKS might not be expecting them, but instead they're not even clearing it out. Stanley, though.
Mystic.
He is gonna find one, but there's still one more player. Gets a little too greedy for that Vandal. Enzo and Kaiko, though, already pushed all the way up onto site. And the aggression we wanted to see, potentially not the correct execution, but still, it feels like these are the most picks that Human TripWires has had. And that's only one player.
Last round,
yeah, it hasn't been easy. And once again, we have to bring this up. How many rounds have Fern and Connor had their ults as well? Like, why save them? Devil would have had like at least 2 Empresses.
Yep.
In total. Now it's only the one saved from round 3. Fern, I think he got that lockdown like what, probably 5 rounds ago. Same for Connor with the resurrection in that 1 versus 3 situation. Could have easily used. For some reason, they're saving them.
Yep,
Yes.
but when we're looking at APEKS, though, they're not saving any of their ultis. The second that Bladestorm comes online, yes, he has a Vandal, but he still decides to use that. Bladestorm's gonna dash onto site. Mystic picks up a little freebie along the way. And again, with that ultimate, that lockdown, it's gonna push Human Tripwires off the site once again, and it's gonna buy APEKS a good chunk of time.
Let's go.
Ultimate's coming out, but they're expecting this to happen. He's looking to play out aggressively. The res is gonna be coming out, but Kaiko and Enzo, they're unaccounted for on the site. They're doing so much already. Firen does find one, but that's all they're gonna be good for now. And Devo is gonna get a pick.
Use the
Gets
Empress.
it. Finally, he's gonna be able to heal off of that. This is the first time we've seen him heal himself. But he's still in a battle with that Mystic. And Connor has rotated on. And that is the Empress. It's being spotted. Devo's gonna be able to find that first pick. He's gonna be able to lead Connor on the way and get shut down. We wanted to see it, but unfortunately, it's not gonna be played out the way we had expected it to. Magnum, though. This is his territory. 9-3 half for APEKS. This is looking much better than last game from their end.
Oh yeah. First 3 rounds, it was the dominance of Human Tripwires. And I think more of dominance of Devo. But after that, it has stalled out a lot. And I think a part of it has to do with these ultimates. They haven't used them. 3 ultimates in the last round they have available. Sure, they used 2 of them. But even the KILLJOY lockdown, they're not able to use that before they're dead. Fern is gone out of that round. They cannot use that lockdown because they take so much time. And APEKS coming into this pistol round. Last time around they were able to win the second one.
Yeah.
Can they win it again?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Human Tripwires won 3 in a row and then won nothing after that. So
yeah.
Like, this pistol round, as much as we like to say how important it is, and as much as we like to highlight how, you know, winning both pistol rounds could potentially increase your chances. If this is the same as last half, where Human Tripwires get the pistol, get the bonus, get the third round, and then APEKS just claps back immediately.
Human Tripwires doing the same kind of setup that APEKS did, but there's no one to kill on site. Enzo looking for
There's
some
Enzo
kind of
to
pick.
kill. I mean,
Look at this.
Yep. Devo is playing an unexpected angle, to say the least, but once that Sage Wall drops, he is going to be stuck between every single member of the side of APEKS, and Shadow spots him out immediately, and that's the Sage Wall. They haven't used it just yet, so they can use it to go for that defuse. And it feels like Human Tripwires are aware of this. Stanley, though, the man, the legend, the myth, coming to the rescue, securing the second pistol round for Human Tripwires on this map, and a 4th one on the board.
Sage Wall leaves a lot of space for Human Tripwires to just walk up and find those players. Yesterday we saw Zig placing a lot of those Sage Walls instantly behind the plant, so he has that cover and no one can really push up to the Sage Wall. They have to break it. But somehow there's a gap, there's a huge gap that Stanley's able to exploit, and that's the round for Human Tripwires. That's the pistol round down, and that's exactly what they need if they want to come back into this map, or even try for it.
Yep. I think this is the baby steps that we need, right? Again, Devo coming out with that Vandal. Might not have had such a successful round last time, but Stanley, again, a good agent to get some of these picks on, because you have that Viper Spit online. You can use that to block out one site, and you can have the rest of your team reinforcing the opposite site. Especially because this is Icebox, that could be a very good strategy for them to use, but it's gonna be down once again to actually using your ultimates when they're available.
Absolutely. There's no point of getting that Viper Spit if you're not gonna use it. A good stack on the side of APEKS. Magnum getting one already, a lot of damage. And all of a sudden, Human Tripwires there on their back foot. Sure, getting 2 back is huge for them.
Still 3 players, and they're even going to have a chance to pick up that Spectre, which against the Ghost and the Guardian, if that Guardian shot doesn't land immediately, getting that closer fights with EPS, which is what they're looking for right now, it's going to be a little scary. Now, Human Tripwires, they get the pistol, which, good valiant effort. They need to convert it now. They have the turret available. It's going to be watching mid. That spike down. They can breathe a little. They have a little bit of breathing space.
Yeah, but that's only a ghost for Fern. All they have is that Guardian. Sure, double nano swarms, but Shadow once again. That Sage Wall, that could be so instrumental.
Okay.
Gets destroyed instantly.
Yep. That Sage Wall, like, what happened yesterday, I don't want to see that again today. And it feels like the teams are all on the same page with that. Epsto, you're trying to defuse that. He's going to make it a little bit more difficult for you. Kaiko has the Vandal in his hand. He finds the first, finds the second. But does he have enough time to go for defuse? No, he doesn't. Human Tripwires secure the round. But at what cost? Because Kaiko gets to hold on to the Vandal. And the economy of Apex is looking pretty solid right now.
Absolutely. Saving that one rifle, even from that round, is good for them. Just getting a lot of damage done to the side of Human Tripwires. They got this bike down, so there's maybe a chance where Human Tripwires invest into this upcoming round, but I don't see it likely. I think they have to go for a save. Let's have to go like an eco round. No, they're actually going for the Vandals. They're going for the rifles. Sure, you don't have a lot of utility. Devo having to give up on both Lears. Connor doesn't have any slow orbs. It could be so detrimental for them. Devo just looking for that first pick.
That's all he needs. That's the power of the Reyna. There you go. First pick secured. KILLJOY gone. Mid blown wide open. But as much as Apex is going to have to send reinforcement to mid, they're happy to stick to their positions because of Kaiko's aggressive position. They know there's no one pushing B, and therefore, if you're going to get onto A, he needs to get through kitchen. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, and the KILLJOY setup is gone. Magnum died first. Kitchen's
Ooh,
open.
Shadow. Shadow is going to find one.
Mystic
Costly
gets
one.
dropped down as well. Yeah.
Imposter Viper done. In this case. I mean, it depends, right? If, like, whoever gets put down is the imposter. Doesn't matter what team you're on. I guess that in my brain, that makes sense.
You're the
I'm not saying it... I would love some pasta.
Oh.
That's not what you said?
No, not
Sorry.
really.
Well, Enzo again on the mission. Does manage. It's looking so good for Human Tripwires. And then Enzo just shows up. Sets up the rest of the team. Kaiko has a potential of defusing this if he'd like to. And Epps is not expecting this. Is already halfway. He's not aware. Kaiko is now fully aware of that position. A little back and forth. And when it's a one-on-one against Kaiko, I guess you're not the one most likely to come out on top.
Did he just sign?
Yep, he did.
Okay.
Respect.
That's cool.
I respect that.
And he even gave us a heart.
Look at that. Look at the tag. Just the fact that Enzo is able to tag a player and isolate these 1v1s, giving Kaiko enough breathing space to pick up right after him. Incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that breathing space is the most instrumental value out of that round. Like Enzo getting all of the attention onto him, allowing Kaiko to come onto site, get 2 kills on the back of these players of Human Tripwires, and then finding that 1 versus 1. And Epps is already low HP from that shock dart, I think. Now Human Tripwires, they have to go onto a timeout. They invested so much into that round, and now they cannot buy. Fern, yeah, he has the lockdown. But what can they do with it? It's probably not wise to use it on this round. On Apex, they have a full buy. Actually, not even the best economy for the side of Apex. I think they're gonna get only 2 full rifles in this round.
Turret out.
Kaiko probably gonna drop 1 rifle with that blade storm.
Yep. Again, this is where you kind of have that eco round, so you're looking to see what site you should stack on and hoping, praying that they're going to be pushing onto the site that you're stacking on instead. But rather, actually, we're seeing an aggressive push coming out. I think this is what we would love to see. But Human Tripwires, that was so expensive, and they're kind of on the back foot mentally with the morale being taken down as well. I think Devo just getting a couple of those picks initially, like, hyped them up so much, and it really helped out. They're already on site and they got that plant down.
Yeah, they actually stick the plant.
Yeah, the lockdown though, they're gonna have to back off of this because anyone who gets caught, it's gotta be a dead one. Well, on top of Epps, Stanley and Connor, no, 1 player detained, and that's Devo, the 1 player that they needed here. He's not gonna be able to help out any of their teammates. And Mystic is on a tear himself. Flawless round from Apex. It's 11-5. Icebox is their home, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, sure, Human Tripwires, they were on a low buy. You cannot even say that's a buy. A couple of stingers here and there with no shields. And that's kind of full invest into this round. I think there was a lockdown available. 4 ultimates, 1 orb away. Would be so instrumental for Human Tripwires to get at least one of those. Especially Viper's Pit, Resurrection, Hunter's Fury. One of those, and you're probably set for this round.
Human Tripwires, it feels like they're struggling in terms of, yes, you get onto site, but then it feels that their strategy kind of ends there. We get onto site, and then what? They didn't take into account the fact that there's going to be a Killjoy lockdown. So you rushing that plant is actually putting you in a negative position because you're now being flushed away from the site, and you have to play another retake or risk staying in the Killjoy ult and getting detained, as we saw, case in point, Devo.
Yeah.
But thinking ahead, being a couple of steps ahead of your opponent is what they need to reel in, especially in this map, because we haven't seen that from them as of yet. And Kaiko goes for that aggressive swing, takes 2 down with him. Defending Killjoy, attacking Killjoy gets
No way!
Mystic! No, Mystic! I mean, we said Enzo showing up to the play, but this man in the last couple of rounds, he is not playing.
Absolutely not. When I saw Mystic 1 versus 3, those people at first, I was like, he's not hitting any shots. He's gonna die soon. But then all 3 kills, getting that lockdown out of place after the round as well, is so good for APEKS. Securing Viper's Pit for the next round. Human Tripwires set back tremendously in economy as well. 3 Spectres coming in. Devo having to go without any shields. Yeah, you can go with that, with the Reyna. Empress coming in. Is it good enough?
Yep, the aggressiveness here. Finally showing up from the side of Human Tripwires, but it got to be enough. Magnum on the elevation gets the high ground, and Stanley's forehead taken down with it. Hunter's Fury. It's going to make it difficult. Mystic in his own Viper Spit takes out one of the biggest advantages that Human Tripwires could have had this round. Connor yet to be accounted for. Doesn't want to go into the pit. Wisely so. He's going to make a sound if he decides to pick up that rifle. And Mystic creeping around the edges. He wants to push out. He wants to get the player down. Gives up some of his positioning. But Connor is still deciding to retreat. And Kaiko, he's going to get tagged eventually because he's looking to cut off these rotations. Pull the rug from under Human Tripwires, because this round it's do or die, and not a single mistake is coming out from APEKS. Ebbs left all by himself. This is it! Mystic closes it out. 2-0 for APEKS on their first showing here at Polaris. They're the winners of the match!
Yeah, and the script writers are once again on top of their game. I mean, I think it was exactly similar score as yesterday first match. Both of the maps 16-14, 13-5.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Actually, no, yesterday it was 13-4 in focus against HSJ, but so close.
Potato,
amazing.
potato, tomato, tomato.
It's kind of close, right?
Yeah, it is. It is really close, and I think that's the scary part, right? Because of how close it is, because of the level of play that we're seeing out of Human Tripwires, because of the level of play that we've seen yesterday, as well, not just from Vamonos, but also from HSD. The level of competition here, as much as we like to highlight APEKS as one of the strongest teams potentially coming into this, they're not the only ones.
Absolutely not. And we can already see from this matchup, the matchups yesterday, even though that may be Human Tripwires, HSD, all of these teams, Vamonos even, are not quite at the level of APEKS. They can still kick ass pretty good in their own maps. They can contest these teams really well. And I think that's all what it comes down to this season of Polaris. I think it's really, really even. And there's not just one clear winner. Obviously, APEKS is a heavy favorite for a lot of these viewers, a lot of us in talent. But I think it's going to be really, really even season.
Yep. I think that's also the exciting part here, because we can't really come out and say, oh yeah, this is the team that's going to be putting up on top, because Human Tripwires, they pushed APEKS to their limit, especially on Ascent. Both KILLJOYs getting the MVP. I was actually expecting Mystic to be the one getting the MVP simply because of how much he showed up that game, and 3.8 KD for Mystic, incredibly insane. 2.7 for Magnum though, and I think, yes, Firen very well deserved that game. Devo did start it off quite strongly, but it felt like the more that APEKS was pushing against Human Tripwires, the more Devo was struggling.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Devo in the later stages of that map, and probably even like, what, last 13 rounds, he wasn't really present. I think we didn't quite see him at all. And it's a real tough situation. Kaiko, on the other hand, I think it was great, but there was Magnum popping off, and this is a sight to see for me, because I think Magnum had the biggest struggle in the first map. He couldn't quite get that KILLJOY to work. I think it might be even that he has had a so long break on the KILLJOY. On Ascent, it wasn't too viable for a long time. Yeah, he played it in Koi, but there was some kind of stuff that Magnum wasn't able to do perfectly, and I think he had a lot of struggles in Ascent, but now picking up that slack definitely in Icebox. Amazing performance.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. On Ascent, it felt like Magnum on the KILLJOY wasn't having too much of an impact. It felt like either gets picked off a little too early, the setup gets triggered a little too early, the setup is, you know, found immediately from the side of Human Tripwires. But this game around, some of these KILLJOY plays have been incredible. The timings of these lockdown, flushing players out of sight, forcing them to back off of the spike, forcing them to not even get onto site to be able to get that plant. A lot of the util this time around by Magnum on Icebox, incredible to watch. But I think all in all, when we're looking at the util usage, there was quite discrepancy in terms of what we've seen yesterday. So yesterday we saw a lot of util being pulled out in 1v1s instead of, you know, trying to go for that peak. But also, when we're looking at APEKS, their level of util usage, the way that each player is playing off of each other's utility, the way that the util is actually calculated into a lot of these rounds and it's being taken into consideration, we haven't really seen any slip-ups as of yet when it comes to, oh yeah, let me just throw a shock dart, wait, there's someone right in front of my face. So it feels like when we're looking at those things when it comes to APEKS, they are doing it so incredibly well, and that does put them in a little tier above the others, because those are mistakes that other teams need to fix, whereas APEKS, they already have that under lock and key, and now it's more of a matter of getting the strategy in place, getting the VODs in place from all of their opponents to figure out how are we going to approach the game plan next week.
Yeah, for sure. And talking about the VODs, I think preparing for this matchup was really hard for them as well.
Yes.
They have 3 coaches. They have a lot of staff behind them. So I think coming up further down in the season and seeing how these teams plays, I think APEKS, they're going to get better and better and better, because they can look how these teams play. They can expect something coming out of that situation or these certain situations. Right now, they just have to go in the dark. They didn't know what Human Tripwires would run. They had no clue about the comps, nothing about this team. They kind of knew how these players would play as in terms of what role, but you have no clue how they're going to work together as a team and individuals.
Yeah, and that's actually quite an interesting point to bring up here. It's like same thing for Focus as well yesterday. That first map that you have, you're going into it blind. You have no idea what to expect. You have no idea what picks they play. How aggressive do they play? How passive do they play? How do they have their set plays? What util are they going to be using? Whereas when you get a little bit more of a feel of how your opponent is playing, and that's when both Focus and APEKS are on that second map, which is also coincidentally happens to be their own map picks, they look so strong, so much more adapting, and we've seen it in the scoreline, like 13-5, 13-4. It is definitely that what you just mentioned yourself, having those coaches, having that ability to dissect the gameplay of your opponent is what's going to make these teams even stronger and stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And APEKS already, they have a lot of great talent. It was, well, from our talent prediction, it was already expected that they're going to beat Human Tripwires. The first map looked a little bit shaky, but I think we'll just have to put that down as a first map, like, introduction in this tournament, into this season. And I think APEKS, they're going to get stronger when the synergy builds up even more, when they get back together even more and build up synergy between Kaiko and Shadow, who hasn't been on Fnatic. And even, I think, there's different time zones that these players were in Fnatic. I'm not quite sure if Enzo ever shared roster with Magnum. I'm pretty sure not, as the Alpha share Enzo switch. I think it came along at the same time.
Yeah. Well, thankfully for us, we don't have to speculate any longer because we can ask the man himself, the MVP of some of the matches here. Enzo, hello, welcome back to Polaris.
Hello.
Hi, how are you feeling after your first performance here?
I'm good, and you? I'm feeling good. I hope you guys hear me from the correct mic and not any other mic. I hope my mic is fine and it's not the webcam, you know. I've seen that happen before. No, I'm feeling good. I'm happy that we won. It was the first map was a challenge for us. We definitely got challenged. I mean, we expected this to happen, but I'm happy we got challenged because this way we have much more to learn. Also, it's the first official for most of us after a big break, you know, after a few months.
Yeah.
And it was a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to see you back in Polaris. Talk about that first map a little bit more. What do you think was the biggest struggling points for you guys, especially on that defending side? Because they got 8 rounds on attacking against your defensive side. Is it just not prepared that well, or what happened there?
Our preparation is fine. The team is new. We had roughly 10 days of bootcamp here, a super productive bootcamp, so our preparation is definitely fine. What happened is that I believe we lost a pistol round, and then on our first full buy, we kind of lost the clutch. It was really, really close as well, and we lost a 4v2, I think, where we kind of lined up, you know? Yeah. So when that happens and everything snowballs in that sense, like, what can you do, you know? All you can do is just work on your micro and VOD review that and make sure that doesn't happen, and like again try to improve how you actually move together, you know. That's all you can do right now. So to answer you, basically everything snowballed in their favor, and it was quite long to step back up from that, but we stepped up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to dive deeper into your team. You have a lot of talent, a lot of experience in between this team. But Kaiko, he was a pretty unknown name for me, and I think for the mainstream people, yeah, he played in Wild in the French league and under Bonk as well. What was the reason you picked up Kaiko? Because he's insane, but I was wondering, why not someone else who had more experience previously?
Well, when you have a roster with Mystic, Magnum, Shadow, and I, you don't need to have a 5th man who is an experienced player, yeah? You need to have someone who can be the spearhead of the team and who's mechanically gifted. And what happened is pretty simple. I've seen a lot of VODs, like during my off time, let's call it like that. I've seen a lot of VODs of new players because I wanted to get information on like where to go, you know, like who am I going to play with next, what's going to happen. And I did a little bit of scouting, and when you spectate Keiko, you can see that he has something more, you know, like he's really gifted at what he does. His positioning, the way he's like trading with his teammates, but also like the way he's playing Jet. What you want from a Jet or Chamber, because he was playing a lot of Chamber before that, is that you want someone who's capable of being very aggressive at some point, but also having that switch of, okay, right now I'm aggressive, I'm going to kill everyone, but switch, I go back on a setup with my teammates, I'm going for the team play, because this is how I'm going to win the round, you know? So, and I saw that Keiko had that switch, like, from the start, and like, when you have someone who's as gifted as he is, you know, all you want to do is give him everything you have, you know, teach him everything you have, and go make the best team possible, you know, that's it.
Okay,
for sure.
Well, so far, the 2-0 from you guys means that you are staying in the top as of now, but thank you so much for taking the time to do the interview. I'm looking forward to see how you guys improve on this week and what's next for you guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Have a good evening.
Have a good day.
Bye. Well, I think just looking at the way that the interview being conducted, looking at the fact that, you know, that first map, you're being challenged, which gives you more of a learning experience rather than sitting down and be like, oh, we made a mistake. I think that's a very good approach to having it, and something expected from Enzo, to say the least. So happy to see that that has not changed. We're going to be heading over to a break because we have Hookars, who also hasn't changed, but they're going to be going up against Les Petits Bouffons.